My name is McKenna Dement, and the virus that I chose that we will be talking about today is the Nipah virus. The Nipah virus, NIV, is also known as encephalitis, but was previously known as the Hendra-like virus. It is a highly contagious bat-borne virus found mainly in Southeast Asia. It says bat-borne because the fruit bats are the ones who carry the virus. It has been known to cause severe neurological and respiratory disease. So instead of like when you have the flu and you just don't feel very well and you're stuck in bed for a couple days, this can damage your body. NIV is a highly contagious gram-negative virus that is single-stranded and is also encapsulated by the nucleoprotein. It has a structure that has a herring bone-like appearance. NIV has 6 different genes that correspond with each other. Of these 6, they include the nucleocapsid, the phosphoprotein, the matrix protein, the fusion protein, the glycoprotein, and the large protein. The main promoter of the Nipah virus is located at the end of the RNA genome inside of the virus itself. This viral antigen has minimal pathological damage but does lots of damage to the inside of the body. It can affect the uterus, bladder, ovaries, blood vessels, cells, and more. So once it hits your organs, it damages your body pretty bad. The Nipah virus is classified as a zoonotic virus because it is spread from animals to humans. Zoonotic literally means the spread between animals and the spread between animals and humans. It can also be spread through contaminated food or through human contact. So once it reaches the humans, those are the 2 main ways that it spreads between them. The virus itself is carried by fruit bats, like I had said earlier. The exact transmission of the virus from the fruit bats to the other animals is unknown. But after researching, they believe that the fruit being eaten by the other animals is contaminated with the urine and or the saliva of the fruit bats. This is why regions with large fruit bat populations are more affected than other regions. So in Southeast Asia, the fruit bat population is pretty large, and that's why they're hit almost yearly with epidemics of this. And here in the United States, we don't have any cases of it. The Nipah virus was first recognized in Malaysia in 1998 when people were becoming sick after having direct contact with sick pigs. And they actually found this out because of a pig farmer who kind of helped put all the puzzle pieces together and helped figure out this when the epidemics first started happening. There was also an outbreak in Bangladesh in 2001, and ever since then they suffer with yearly outbreaks of the disease. Some of these regions that it affects greatly include Cambodia, Ghana, Indonesia, Madagascar, the Philippines, and Thailand. There is no one specific race or socioeconomic class that is affected by NIV more than another. But when the outbreaks are happening, it causes a widespread panic and socioeconomic disruption. The people start freaking out and don't really know how to react because they're all afraid that they'll catch the contagious disease. There is a high mortality rate that comes with the virus, and it has been found to be very contagious. Signs and symptoms of NIV start with fever, headaches, muscle pains, vomiting, and a sore throat. And once it starts to affect the body more, they're followed by dizziness, drowsiness, altered consciousness, and neurological signs that indicate acute encephalitis. In rare cases, people can experience respiratory distress, pneumonia, seizures, coma, and even death. The fertility rate of the virus is 75%, and out of those who survive, 20% of the patients are left with pretty severe neurological consequences. Diagnosis can be hard because initial signs and symptoms are nonspecific, and doctors often cannot tell that it is NIV. Because like I had said, the initial signs and symptoms are things such as like fever, headaches, and you get those with lots of sicknesses, so it's very hard for a doctor to see those and be like, oh, I know what that is. The main test used to diagnose the Nipah virus is the ELISA and the RT-PCR. These tests include real-time chain reactions from bodily fluids and immunoabsorbent assay from the sick people. There are currently no drugs, vaccines, or treatments available that are specific for the Nipah virus that are approved for human use. But with this being said, the Nipah virus has been identified as a priority disease for researching and development teams worldwide because people are really wanting to find a cure for this since it affects so many people. It is highly recommended to treat severe respiratory and neurological complications with intensive support care units. People are secluded from anyone and everyone so they can receive proper standard infection control treatment. There's even proper barriers between the infected patient and the nurses and doctors working on them in order to prevent more spreading. The spread of the Nipah virus can be prevented by avoiding drinking raw date palm sap and also avoiding areas where exposure to sick pigs and bats is common. So for us here in the United States, that's not really as big of a deal, but for the people in Southeast Asia, they obviously have to worry about that a lot more. Additional efforts have been put into action trying to prevent future outbreaks and spread awareness of the disease and where it originates from. More research is needed to better understand both the Nipah virus and ecology of bats since they are carriers of the virus. Investigation questions include things such as the reproductive cycle of bats and the seasonality of the disease. Because if there is some puzzle pieces that researchers can put together, maybe it can help them find a cure. They are putting effort into having more surveillance in order to learn more about the virus and hopefully find a cure eventually. Surveillance efforts include laboratory assays for early detection of the virus in both livestock and in communities. Raising and spreading awareness of the virus is crucial in reinforcing standard infection control practices so we can stop the spreading of the disease and avoiding more spreading of the virus.